Ah, thank you, Harold. It's so nice to see your beautiful face again. It's been a while.
Thank you.
Ah,
Likewise.
you're so beautiful. I think I think it's really amazing how we all have learned so much so quickly so that we could stay connected, right? Like learning how to do this virtually with Donna and Michael and the practitioners and John behind the scenes and Harold and Lindsay and all of us, everybody together working so that we can stay connected. Because what I've found is that when we aren't able to be connected in some way, we kind of turn into Jack Nicholson, kind of like either One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or The Shining, where we get cabin fever and we get a little kooky. I know for myself, Reverend Donna's laughing, good. Hopefully someone else is too. I know for myself, I've experienced recently, like in the past couple months, that black cloud. You know that black cloud that it's like, I know what I believe, but this black cloud just will not go away. And I know that a lot of us have felt that way. A lot of us have felt that way. And what I want to share this morning and what I desire our series for this month to be on is because this black cloud, or what some people call like a dark black hole they're falling into, because it has lifted, because it has moved on like a weather system, and right now it's a sunny day for me inside. I wanted to talk with us this month about understanding the anatomy of our spirit. So understanding our spiritual anatomy. And because I think I'm a little bit clever, we'll just call it USA today, okay? Understanding our spiritual anatomy. That kind of sounds a little strange, probably. It did for me. I used to be a respiratory therapist, and I could probably still tell you the anatomy of how blood flows through the heart. But anyway, anatomy just means the study of the structure of something, the study of the structure of something. And so this month we're going to look at something very, very special today. We're going to look at the anatomy of fear, the anatomy of trust, the anatomy of healing prayer. And I wanted to share something with you. I don't know if you know this, but you could be watching this 30 years from now, or you could be brand new and have never seen us before. But my beautiful co-senior minister here, Reverend Michael, we all think of him as kind of the scholar, the well-read, the well-versed on the New Thought pioneers. But what you might not know is that as much as he is with that, I am an absolute 100% certified Ernest Holmes geek. Like, I geek out on him. I'm such an Ernest Holmes nerd, it's not even funny. I've probably read, like, I can't tell you how much about him. He's just like the cutest little man ever. So I had a whole message prepared for this morning. And then I was looking for this one quote by Holmes about not taking himself seriously. And one thing led to another. Michael found it for me. I read it. It happened to be in the final sermon by the sea. And it occurred to me at 9 o'clock last night that this was the anatomy of our spirituality. That this message that he gave, that he did not know, well, he may have known, that we do not know if he knew, was going to be his last sermon ever. And so what I want to do this morning is I just want to share it with you. And I know some of it. I'll have to read some of it. I hope you're okay with that. But here we go. In 1958, at the sacred grounds for those of us religious scientists, called a Silomar Conference in Pacific Grove, California. There's a little chapel on this conference ground, and a little 5'4" man with a heart 100 times bigger than anybody's, I think. He gave a message, and this is what he said. He said, having had the privilege of starting the religious science philosophy It is my will, my desire, and my wish that above all else, the simplicity and the purity of this teaching never be violated. Are you seeing me as Holmes now? Am I looking more like him? I just got to lower 1 inch, okay. There is a purpose for its simplicity, for its unity of consciousness, for its directness. In this thinking, this philosophy has never appeared before, except by the teachings of Jesus and Emerson and those other wise men and women who have intuitively known this. He says, it would be my desire that simplicity and purity and directness and straight thinking should never depart from the techniques of the practitioner of this philosophy, or instructors of the teachers, or students, or members. It is the most direct impartation of the divine wisdom that has ever come to the world, because it incorporates the precepts of Jesus and Emerson and Buddha and all the rest of the wise. Why we are special is because we know that we aren't sharing anything new. That's what makes us different. I would desire that in this teaching, there should never be any arrogance, because that always indicates spiritual immaturity to me. Others will arise who will know more than we do. They won't be better than us or worse, but they will know more than we do, because evolution is forward. I desire that we should not build out of the body of this simplicity a creed that is loaded with superstition and fear of the unknown, a dread for the unseen. We have discovered a pearl of great price. We have discovered the rarest gem that has ever been found sitting in the intellect of the human race, sitting in the intellect of the human race. Complete simplicity, complete directness, a freedom from fear and superstition about the unknown and the unseen and about God. We have rediscovered that which is great, the good and the wise, that which they sung about and thought about, the internal splendor. Can you feel that? The internal splendor within ourselves and within each other, and have direct contact with it. We have direct contact with that inner splendor of that divine nature, whether it's hard to feel it or see it right now. Whether we call this the Christ in us, or the Buddha, or the Atman, or simply the child of God, the Almighty Spirit, makes no difference. Here, this is what is important. You and I are witness to the divine fact that we should discover an authority beyond our minds, even though our minds utilize it. Out of this, we prepare ourselves. And I want to say that one more time because it's so, so powerful. You and I are witness to the divine fact, And we have discovered an authority beyond our minds, although our minds utilize it. Out of this, we have prepared ourselves. Find me one person who is for something and against nothing, who has redeemed himself enough to condemn no one. Find me one person who is for something and against nothing, who has redeemed themselves enough not to condemn others out of the burden of their own soul, and I will have found you another Savior, another Jesus, another divine being. Find me one person who no longer has any fear of the universe or of God or of humankind and of anything else, and you will have brought to me someone in whose presence we may sit with, and fear will vanish like the clouds when the sunlight appears. Find me someone who has redeemed their own soul, and that person will be my redeemer. Find me someone who has given all that they have in love without dis-ease. Find me someone who has given all that they have in love without dis-ease. And I will have found the lover of my soul because this person will have revealed to me the nature of God and the proven the possibility of all human souls. I just want to feel into that. I want to read that one more time. Find me someone who has given all that they have in love without dis-ease, and I will have found the lover of my soul, because this person will have redeemed to me, to reveal to me the nature of God and the possibility for all human souls. This is what religious science is. This is what the religious science philosophy stands for. I'm just going to take a moment and say, if you're not familiar with this terminology, religious science, it is a former term used to describe the Centers for Spiritual Living and our philosophy. It is not a new dogmatism. It is not a new authority generated from a new alleged revelation of God. There's no special disposition of providence, but there is a specialized disposition that the great and the good and the wise and the just have known, even though it was an intuitive knowing. And he says this because at this point in time, science has begun to prove the reality and truth of this teaching. Find me one person who can get their own littleness out of the way, and this person will reveal to me the immeasurable magnitude of the universe in which I live. Find me one person who can get their littleness out of the way, and you will have found me a person who reveals the immeasurable magnitude of this universe in which I live. Find me one person who communes with cause and effect. And in the evening star will sing to this person, and darkness will turn to light. Through this one, as the one who touched the hem of the garment of Jesus, will be healed of all loneliness forever. When we use the laws of the universe, that is what heals us. And that is what brings back that light into our spirit. Find me someone whose song is really celestial, because it is the outburst of the cosmic urge to sing, and I will hear the music of the spheres. Find me one person who is no longer doubted, who no longer wavers. No, not one who has a proclamation of superiority, who says, "Look at me, I have arrived." Not one like that. I will not listen to that. Only that which reveals to me, to myself. Only one who reveals to me myself to myself, the divine within me. Only one who leads me to God within myself. Find me one person who has so completely divorced themselves of arrogance, and you will have found and discovered for me an open pathway to the realm of God here and now. Up until now, the search has been in far off corners of the earth, bowing down on rugs and all sorts of rituals to try to commune with that divine. In our morbid and fearful imagination over the ethers of nothingness, to places that have no existence, the temples of our unbelief. Let's think about that for a moment. What do we keep reaching for? What do we keep thinking is going to save us, going to fix us, going to make us feel better? No place, no thing exists but that divine power. This is what he says that Jesus said. We have to come back. We will come back empty if we do this. What went ye out into the wilderness for to see? So what ye went out into the wilderness for to see, if you come back and you're still empty. The point of going out into the wilderness for Buddha, for Jesus, for all of us is sometimes going into that dark night of the soul, sometimes going into a pandemic and coming out on the other side with an awakening of the truth of who we really are and a determined desire to practice the presence. Find me somebody who has detached their emotional and psychological ego from the real self without having to deny the place it plays within the scheme of things, and without slaying any part of that oneself, because the transcendence is theirs and there also. And I will have discovered the ineffable in this individual and a direct pathway to the communion with the divine in my soul. We have come together in love for each other and adoration for the God that we believe in. I feel like I'm about to cry because this is the end of his sermon. Many wonderful things have happened that would seem to be miracles if we didn't know any better. And now we meet for this fond farewell after the spiritual bath of peace and the baptism of the living Spirit Almighty, not through me, Ernest says, not through me, but you to me and me to you and us to each other. The revelation of the self to the self. We go back into the highways and the byways of life with something so great that never again will we be the same. That never again will we be quite the same. A little more light will come in our lives. A little more glory and peace will arise. A deeper consciousness, a higher aspiration, a broader certainty of mind. This is important. You are religious science. You are this philosophy. I am not. I am just the one who put something together. I don't even take myself seriously, but I do take what I do seriously. There is a cosmic power wrapped up in a cosmic consciousness and deliberates in a deliberateness that is equal to the vision that releases it. I'm going to say this again. There is a cosmic power wrapped up in a cosmic consciousness. There is a cosmic power wrapped up in a cosmic consciousness and deliberateness that is equal to the vision that releases it. That is us. And that is this power that is so much greater than us. What I'm saying is this: there is a law that backs up the vision. And the law is immutable, yes, But here we go. Here's where we move from that second kingdom of consciousness of the by me, of the manifestations and the as I thinketh, I believe, and creating what we want in our lives. And here we move into that third kingdom of consciousness where it says, through me, I choose to be a living vessel of good, a servant of the Almighty. Here we go. He says, there is a law that backs up the vision, yes, and it is immutable. But there is a power transcendent beyond our needs, beyond our little wants. If we need to demonstrate a dime, demonstrate a dime. If you need healing of pain, heal the pain. But beyond this, at the real feast at the tabernacle of the Almighty, in the temple of the living God, in the banquet hall of heaven, there is something beyond anything that you and I have touched. I'm going to say that again. Beyond that, at the real feast at the tabernacle of the Almighty, in the temple of the living God, in the banquet hall of heaven, there is something beyond you and I. Something beyond you and I that we have never touched, that can never be diminished, but that is always in us. Find me 1,000 people who know that and use it. Find me 1,000 people who know the science of mind philosophy and use it and live it. And the world will no longer be famished. How important it is that each one of us in our own simple way will live from God to God. I'm going to say that to the people here, that we live from God to God. From God to God. From God to God. With God, in God, and in each other. That is why we are here. We're taking back with us, I trust. Now they're leaving Asilomar, and this will be his last Asilomar. And we'll be taking back with us, I trust, a vision and an inspiration, something beyond a hope and a longing. A vision and an inspiration, something beyond a hope and a longing. That the living Spirit will, through us, walk anew into our own creation, and a new glory will come with a new dawn. And a new glory will come with a new dawn. And so this is a very special sermon for me personally, because when I first heard it, a minister shared it in the chapel, as it is now a ritual, and I had one of my first truly profound mystical experiences where Ernest Holmes sat and then knelt by me and spoke these words to me, heart to heart, and I knew that he was calling me forward into a greater yet to be. And so I just thank you for being with us this morning, and I thank you for listening as we move forward with understanding our spiritual anatomy. And so it is.